What's good, people? It's Nathan here from Cryo UK, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you 4 exercises that you need to include in your routine in order to develop good hip flexor strength and mobility. Now, your hip flexor is one of the most important muscles within the body, as without hip flexion, or if your body is unable to perform hip flexion correctly and efficiently, the body cannot move. As humans, we need to perform hip flexion in order to move, and without hip flexion, we will not survive. So here are 4 exercises to help you keep your hip flexors in tip-top shape and condition. So let's start with number 1. So the first exercise on our list is the split squat. So a split squat looks very similar to a lunge, okay? However, it's slightly different. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with one foot in front of the other, okay? So the way a split squat varies from a lunge is in a lunge you are performing more of a vertical movement, so the forces are moving down and straight down in front of you. Whereas with a split squat, you're wanting to move more horizontal. So your force and the body is going forward. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put one foot in front of the other and you're gonna come down and forward at the same time. So what you want to do is you want to keep your foot on the floor for as long as possible. So keep that foot flat. However, once we reach the end range of motion, what you're gonna do is you're gonna lift onto the ball of your front foot. You're gonna lift onto the ball of your front foot. Okay, so we're gonna aim to get that little bit of added dorsiflexion at the ankle. Okay, so dorsiflexion is where you decrease the joint angle and make it smaller, and basically where the action which involves pulling your toes up towards your body. So when you get down to the bottom, come up onto the ball of your foot, just get that little bit of extra increased range, drop your foot back down and then lift yourself back up. This is quite a difficult exercise, okay? You can see me, I'm maybe wobbling ever so slightly, but the more you work on it, the more this wobble and the balance will disappear and your balance will get better overall. If you want to make the exercises a little bit easier, if you're not good at doing it on the floor, put your front foot up on an elevated platform, so either a chair, a stool, a box, whatever, bench, and basically perform the action and the movement just to make that little bit easier for yourself. Even if you can do it with your foot on the floor, you might want to try this variation just to get that increased added depth into the hip flexor and get yourself further down and work on that range of motion. So for the second exercise, we're going to do reverse hip thrust, okay? So typically when you do a hip thrust, you're laid on the back and you're lifting your hips into the air. So this time what we're gonna do, we're gonna use an elevated platform. So we're gonna get a chair, a stool, a bench, box, whatever suits you. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your feet onto this elevated platform. So in my case, it's a chair. And what you're gonna do is keep your knees slightly bent, okay? And then you're gonna let your hips drop through, okay? So also you're gonna have your hands out in the plank position just to hold yourself up. So you're gonna drop your knees, hands in the plank position, and you're just gonna drop your knees and hips below, okay? So knees bent, drop your hips. Okay, so from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift our bum up. So we're gonna lift our bum up the opposite way as we would do in a normal hip thrust. Lift your bum to the sky and then you're gonna drop your hips down. Okay, so once you've done one of these, this is 1 repetition. So for this exercise, you're gonna do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps to really work that hip flexor and work on that range of motion and mobility and strength. So the third exercise is reverse Nordic. So typically, normal Nordics, they work your hamstrings. So you may have seen this where people hold onto your ankles or you lock your ankles in place and you lower the front of your body down and lift it back up. It's a very difficult skill and difficult movement to do, and you need to have really strong developed hamstrings to do it. However, this is the reverse Nordic, so we're going to do the opposite of that. So instead of working the hamstrings, we're going to work the front quads, hip flexors, and the tendons in the knees. So What you want to do is you want to get on your knees, okay? So like in a normal Nordic, you're going to lean forward and lower your body down. With a reverse Nordic, you're going to lean backwards. So you're going to get as far as you can get. Don't worry if it's not too far to begin with, okay? You will develop that and increase the range and strength over time. So as I said, lower your body backwards and go as far back as you can, and then bring yourself back up, okay? So this is really good at working on the tendon strength in the knees and the ankles as well. So it may feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, but as you get more flexible, as you develop the range, it will become a lot easier. Each time, keep going a little bit further and further back, okay, and try to push yourself each time you do this exercise. So with this exercise, what I like to do is I like to superset it. So as soon as I've done 8 to 12 reps, so we're going to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps of these as well. As soon as I've done my rep range, what I do is I like to do another 8 to 12 reps of just sitting down on my heels and then lifting my hips up. Okay, so it really gets those hip flexors working, it gets it working in a capacity, and also helps you to build up that strength range and that range of motion if you haven't got it already. So this is also a good exercise to do as a regression. So if you can't do the reverse Nordic straight away, just practicing this part of the superset, it's a little bit lighter and puts less strain on the body, so you can use this to build up to you can do the full reverse Nordic. But however, for me personally, I like to do it as a superset. So after I've done my first reps, I like to do this just to finish it off, to make sure I get that extra range of motion, that extra strength, and I'm really hitting those hip flexors and making them work. Additionally, another way of making this exercise easier is to add in a resistance band. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a resistance band, and you're going to wrap it to a secure post or something that's going to hold in place and not going to move when you're moving backwards and forwards, okay? So all you're going to do is hold the resistance band out in front of you, in front of your chest, and you're going to just perform the movement and lower yourself back and then come back up. Okay, so with this, it'll allow you to get a little bit extra added depth and build your confidence when performing this exercise and help you to get that range of motion and work the full range, okay? Even if you don't want to use this to make it easier for yourself, however, what you can do is if you want to get that extra depth, okay, and work on it a little bit further, which you can't do on your own, then add the resistance band and work the full range just to make yourself develop and progress in this exercise. So the fourth and final exercise is going to be the elevated single leg squat. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a chair again or a raised platform. What you're going to do is you're going to put one foot on the chair or the platform. Okay, your standing leg is going to be out in front. And from there, what you're going to do is just lower yourself as you would do in a squat. Okay, so now this is really good for working on those hip flexors and developing that hip flexor strength. Okay, and it's really difficult and you don't really need to add much weight into it. If you do want to make it a little bit more difficult for yourself and you want to add a little bit of resistance, then by all means do so if you want to work on that. But however, this is still a good exercise on its own and doesn't need much weight and can really make an impact with just body weight alone. So really focus here on getting that added depth and working to the full range. Go as low as possible to really work those hip flexors. Also, as you're doing this, you'll be working your hips, your hip flexors, sorry, you'll be working your quads and your glutes and hamstrings as well. So it's a great exercise just to hit all those core movements and all those core muscles in the legs. Okay, so that concludes today's video, and there you have 4 exercises to help you build your hip strength and mobility in your hip flexors. If you liked today's video, make sure you give us a like and give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Additionally, if you found this video useful, make sure you share it with family and friends so they can enjoy our content too. Okay, really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.